Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out some more about these dogs. There's something going on out here that I'm going to hopefully try to explain something the way that I've been able to understand it about this aggression and this term aggression. And it comes down to what we see and perceive as aggressive as opposed to what aggression actually truly is. Because in most cases, not 100%, but like 99.9999%, aggression is something that is displayed because of something else that is going on. It is not the beginning, it is the end. It is not the start of what the animal is doing or even the human being is doing, but it is the end result of what's been going on that that animal and that human has to respond, has to react, has to do something based on what's been going down. And this is something that is getting confusing because some people will say is, oh, my dog is aggressive. And if your dog was just inherently all around truly aggressive, if a human being was just all around inherently just truly aggressive with everything, then it would be that towards everything. And this is one thing that I know goes on with majority of everybody with their dogs. Not every single dog is your dog aggressive looking towards. Some they're not. Some they're just like actually able to play with and they're cool with and everything is fine. But some of them they're just like, hey, get the heck out of here, and they got to show that aggressive looking stance. So that simple thing right there alone lets me know that the dog is not aggressive, because this is the one thing that can calm majority of people's minds down when they see their dog and it feels like their dog is flipping out at all dogs. Is I could bring one of mine and their dog doesn't flip out at it, and it just looks at it and sniffs with them, lays with them, plays with them, and they're just like, oh, that's crazy. And I'm like, yes, because your dog is not aggressive. It's what's leading up to make this dog have to react and have to respond this way. And the things that are leading up to it is what we need to pay attention to, not the so-called aggression that we're seeing in our face in the moment. Because if all we're caring about is the look of the dog is lunging, the dog is barking, the dog is growling, and think we're going to fix that, that's where you're going to end up in that whole concept of the control and management. You're going to be on edge about everything because we're not actually fixing the start of the problem. We're only trying to address the finish. So then what we run into is we got a dog now that is still scared. So let's just go on the fear side of it. Your dog is still fearful of other dogs. So we just allow and put the dog around the other dogs, and we only just give said correction and punishment when the dog starts to respond, starts to react, as opposed to worrying about getting it in a safer place beforehand. We're only focused on it in the end. And that's going to lead the dog to be able to get into an extremely high level of frustration, even more, where the dog is going to lash out quicker and quicker and quicker so that it could just get it over with faster. And that's the part where most of these dogs today are just getting absolutely slammed. And because we're not caring about what's going on to get that dog to be into the place that it's in. We're just, shut up, I don't want you to do that. As opposed to asking, why are we doing this? And that comes down to something that I want to tell a story from a book that I read that is really, really fantastic. And it's called Willpower. And it's a very interesting system that the guy is talking about in this book, because it comes down to, like, imagine waking up in the morning and you're feeling pretty good. You know, you wake up and so just say your tank is at 100% full. You're good. You're chill. Everything is satisfying. You're happy. You're feeling good. Everything's good. You got money in the bank. All the bills are paid. Everything is just looking real good, real right. So you wake up and you get going. You get into the car. You get driving. Oh, you can go, girl. And you can go. You get to driving, and somebody cuts you off, or shoot, let's just add another layer to that, because you're already feeling real good. So somebody hits you, sideswipes you. Nothing too dangerous, but your car is going to have to be in the shop now for a couple of weeks, and you're going to have to figure something out here. And you don't have what do you call that? Rental insurance to get a rental car. So you're just like, what the heck am I going to do? What am I going to do here? Granted, my car will get fixed. So now your level from 100 is not going to drop down to like 85, maybe, depending on your living situation. You don't have another vehicle, that might instantly drop you down to like a 75. Your willpower of saying, I'm good. So put this in the sense that as soon as you get to the end, no, let's just keep going. So your willpower just drops down to like a 65. So the next thing that happens, it's going to be able to irritate you faster. It's not going to, your fuse is getting shorter and shorter now. So now something goes down that you get home. No, you get to work. So you start at 100, you get to 65, you get to work. You're at work now, and everyone's late, and you got to do extra work because you late as well, because you just got a car accident. But now you got to do extra to catch up, and everyone else isn't there. So you're just doing. So now you're getting frustrated and a little irritated. So now your willpower drops from 65. It's going to drop down to like a 35 at this point because you're just overwhelmed at this moment. You're like, oh my goodness, I just got in a car accident. I don't have a car. I got this work problems and they're going to try to fire me because if I don't get this work done. And now you're down to a 35. So now you get home and your kid does something. Your kids are just like, you got a call from the principal. Your kid was just stealing stuff and just whooped someone's face in and just screaming and swearing at the teacher. And you're just like, what the heck is going on with my day today? And now you drop from 35, now you're down to like a 15 because you're just like, oh my goodness. And then now, here's where the part comes in. Your spouse comes home. You're down to a 15. You started the day at 100. You was doing good. You was feeling good. Your fuse was long. Anything could happen and it would take you a long time to be able to get irritated. But now your spouse comes home and now she looks at you or he looks at you and says, hey, something simple, something basic. Nothing wild, nothing extreme, nothing like you're a bad husband, you're a bad wife, and why this, blah, 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 but just a simple question of like, oh, perfect. How was work today? And a normal day, when your willpower starting off today is at 100, you didn't have a car accident, you didn't have issues going on at work that were just going crazy, you would just say, oh, honey, work was a little stressful, it was a little challenging, but, it's all right. And how was your day? That's how the conversation would go. But since all this happened, and then the kids did some madness, now we're running into a situation that you're gonna lash out because you're almost like, in a sense, feeling attacked at this moment because everything else seems to have been attacking you during the day. Now you're gonna have to attack yourself. You're like, oh, just leave me alone. I need some space and just calm down. And then your spouse is gonna look at you like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What the heck is going on here? Why are you treating me like this? Why are you doing this to me? Because they do not know everything that was going on beforehand. But we know, but they don't know. And then they just get this lash. And that's all they see is what is that perceives to be aggression. You're like, dude, you're psycho. You're crazy. What's wrong with you? This and that. And they're not actually seeing the reality of the whole picture that's going on. They're just seeing the absolute end result of what's happening. And that's what's, at the end of the day, very, very damaging. Because if we don't know what's actually going on, the lead up to what's happening, then we're not going to be able to do anything about solving those issues that are happening beforehand. And we're just going to lash out and just say, oh, my husband is aggressive. He's so mean. He's so bad, without asking, like, what the heck's going on in your day, man? What's happening? What's going down? Like, I've never seen you like this before, but yet right now you're just acting absolutely insane. And if we're just looking at that end instead of the start, we would have all kinds of assumptions of saying this is just who this man is. This is what he represents. This is what he's all about, and or a woman, and or a dog. This is what you just represent, because that's all that you see. You're looking at that lash out and saying to yourself, oh, that's who that person is. And that's not who that person or being is. That's just a symptom of something that's been going down over and over and over, that it finally just has to lash out because you just have no more patience. You have no more just willpower behind you. You have no more fuse to be able to work off, that it's done. It's over with. And then you start the next day instantly with that 15 again. You wake up. Then the next day instantly, and the next day instantly. And you're not able to like find that like peace and comfort, that you're just like every single day, it just keeps getting just more damaged, more damaged, and more damaged. And that's what's going on with these dogs. The dogs start off in a said peaceful stance, and then stuff starts happening to them. And now they have to start pushing back. And now they have to start fighting back. And now they have to start doing some aggressive looking stuff to be able to be heard, be seen, and be able to get to understand, because they just been beaten down, beaten down, beaten down. And then now we're seeing this. And then now we're like, oh, I got to fix that. As opposed to, maybe we need to fix the entire living situation this dog has. Maybe we need to fix the entire routine of what's going on with this dog inside of the household. Maybe we need to fix way more other things before we even worry about what this aggressive stuff looks like. Because I see this all the time. That's my main call, people. My dog is aggressive, and I'm scared he's gonna bite someone. I'm scared of this, and I'm not sure what's going on with my dog. And I'm saying, your dog is fine. And I show up, and they never see that aggressive looking dog that they're used to being able to see. Even if I bring one of my dogs, they still don't see that aggressive looking thing that they have always been constantly seeing. And then they're starting to question, like, well, then what's actually going on with the dog? And that's when the real help finally starts. What's going on with the dog? Let's not just sit here and think that we're just gonna correct, punish, treat our way out of this dog from being aggressive looking, but figure out what's going on that's making this dog has a lead to that situation. And that's the primary thing that we need to focus on. Because if the dog was just inherently aggressive, it was just mean and a bully and ruthless, it would be that with everything. It wouldn't like select and choose a dog and say, hey, I'm cool with this dog, but that dog I'm going to be a bully to. Oh, I'm cool with this person, but that person I'm going to be aggressive towards. The dog would just do it across the board. So since it's like that, that must mean that there's something underlining going on here that is making the dogs do and react and respond the way that they're reacting. It's not just them themselves, it's the environment around and everything that's going on with them that's making them respond the way that they're responding. And if we're just trying to look at one small part of the situation or the issue that we got with these dogs, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to keep on stumbling, we're going to keep on fumbling. Because that's something that I can say about, like, I go half a deep second on talking about like serial killers and stuff like that. Someone would say, oh, people just like to kill just to kill and nothing, and they just like it and they enjoy it. But there's always something that's fascinating about watching interviews and listening to these people once they like finally get caught, because they have to get caught because they can't keep doing what they're doing, because that's the purpose of what they do. And once they get caught, they go through these interviews, and almost like 99 out of 100, the interviews are probably even higher than that even. The interview goes, you know, something happened to me as a child. This and this as a kid. This and this went down. It never just like, everything was so blissful, so amazing, and one day I just woke up and I just wanted to hurt people. It's just, that's not the storyline. The storyline is something crazy was going on with that person, that now all of a sudden they kind of just have this, they gotta lash out. Because otherwise, at the end of the day, just sound kind of crazy about this world and how it is. If these people were inherently all aggressive and wanting to hurt, then they would hurt all. But that's not what they do. They have like, they select. They have like, I only do prostitutes, I only do women, I only do men. They all have something, and that comes down from a core thing that damaged them when they were younger. And that core thing is what's the same stuff that's going on in these dogs. We're damaging them, and now they're lashing out at this specific type of dog. So some dogs, and bigger dogs, get jammed up with small dogs. Dogs like under 20 pounds, and even worse case, the dogs that are like under 10 pounds. They get jammed up because they had like bad experience and bad experience and bad experience. So now they're just like, every small dog, I'm going to go get him. But then your dog is totally fine with the bigger dog. You know, that I don't know if that does confuses people or not, but like, why? Why is what I ask in that. If the dog was just aggressive towards all, why would it only be aggressive towards a small dog? So that's for me to have to, guys, we're going the long way. I know we got water up this way, not that way. Yep. Nope. Yep. Come on. Nope. Yep. Come on. There's water this way. You look like you need some. But if your dog was just inherently just aggressive toward aggressive being and a mean being, it would be that towards everything. It wouldn't just some be okay with. And sometimes the dog's gonna run into a scenario that it matches up with, like said, the wrong one. Now your dog is like, it thinks it's said tough, but it matches up with a dog that's really serious about business, and it's gonna look him in the face and say, what you gonna do now? So now where that aggression go? It just disappears because the dog starts to get nervous of the other dog. That's where things are getting complicated with how people are perceiving and looking at the situation. You're perceiving the end as being who the dog is, as opposed to figuring out the beginning of what's driving the dog to want to do what it is that it's doing. And that's something that is just limiting so many people with seeing the potential in the dog that's in your face right now. Because that's one thing that I used to see so much with my shepherd up here. And people say this all the time. You know, my dog's been attacked. Now that's why it wants to attack all dogs. And I'm going to say that's not true. That's not true. I've seen dogs get attacked many times, bounce back like nothing's wrong. What's going on is you take the hit. You get nervous. You get scared. It's not the dog. My dog here, my shepherd here, he's been bit 5-6 times, by maybe even more than that. He's been ran up by dogs like 100 times minimum. Dogs running in his face, barking directly in his face, and he is still not nervous of a single dog. Why? Because he's not. He has no reasons to. He's calm. He's chill. And he knows that nothing is out to actually hurt him. Just stuff happens. Stuff goes down. Now, if these dogs were all aggressive and out to hurt and out to kill, my dog would be out to kill every single moment. But a lot of times what happens is it's got nothing to do with the dog. It's you. You get nervous. You see a dog run up on you, you get nervous. You see your dog get into a dog fight, you get nervous. And you don't recover from that day after day after day after day after day. And now your dog is just feeding into that, and it's just making it worse and worse and worse. And that's where someone else can take your dog and they just won't have those issues at all. And because it comes down to what we're doing with that dog. That's why we need to figure out, that's my main thing. I'm always looking at second one. Because even like going to a house yesterday, everyone in the house is nervous as all can be. On edge, just nervous. And I assess and see the situation like, oh, there's nothing to be nervous with here. Like the dogs are fine. And they're looking at me like, dude, like, you don't see this? You don't see the craziness? Like, no, I don't see anything going on. I see that you guys are nervous, which is more likely going to cause these dogs to be nervous. And if you calm down, then everything else in this household is going to calm down. And we get stuck on, oh, my dog is aggressive, it's mean, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, it's portraying that as a last resort. Once we figure out what's actually going on with this dog, the dog is just saying, hey, I need some space. Can you give me some space? We're like, oh yeah, that's what you want? Okay. The dog stops doing it. The dog stops growling. It stops barking. It stops showing teeth. It stops barking. It stops doing all of that stuff because we finally gave the dog what it was looking for. And if all we do is come in and say, oh, the dog's growling, let's, well, what's the best thing to do? Convince the dogs to start growling. Like, let's set the scenario up to see him growl. We see him growl, and then we correct that dog. We try to give that dog treats in that moment that that dog is growling and doing what it's doing. And this is where things get sticky, because this is stuff that I learned at a dog school that it didn't make sense until basically just recently, that you don't want to correct a dog for like showing teeth, for instance, because then the dog is going to skip showing teeth and go straight to a growl. You don't want to correct a dog for growling, because then the dog is just going to go straight to just wanting to snap or wanting to bark. So bark, I think it would be next. And then you don't want to correct the dog for barking, because then the dog is going to go straight into just straight up like lunging and basically biting at that moment. So you don't want to correct it, but so the dog doesn't just skip that stance. And that's in reality what's going on with so many dogs today, that we're not dealing with the core issue. We're just dealing with we see the bark, so then we correct the bark. So next time that dog's like, shoot, I'm just gonna go all out. Come on, guys. Where y'all go? My dogs are trying to run in. We're not running deep in that water. I don't like that stuff there. Come on, girl. I got you. I'll give you half a second. I don't know if you can see her. She's down here. She got to sit in the water a moment. But the dogs stop worrying about barking or doing anything. They just go straight to lunge and straight to attack, because we didn't deal with the core issue that's going on in the beginning. That's why in most cases, it's always like a progression, that the dogs start to display certain things, and then it just keeps going further and further and further. And then it gets faster and faster and faster. And that's why, because we're not dealing with what's actually going on. We're just dealing with we're right here. This is what we see, and we need to deal with this right now, so it doesn't get anywhere, it doesn't go any further. And that's where we're working a lot backwards with these dogs nowadays, is we're just worrying about the end and not worrying about the beginning. The end is the end. We can't do anything about that. Oh man, she is just super muddy. It's gonna be a bad time today, girl. We can't worry about the end. The end, it's already done. It's already over with. It's already finished. It's like the concept of the dog kills the chicken. It's over with. What are you gonna do about it? The dog ate the trash and you came back home. It's over. What are you gonna do about it? There's nothing. This dog is filthy. There's nothing we could do about it at that moment. So we got to just move on and move forward and figure out the beginning stages. Once we get onto the beginning, then we're going to start to be able to get somewhere. And that's where, like I'm going to say, is the true real dog training starts to come in, is actually diagnosing and searching and wondering and asking questions and figuring out what exactly is going on here. And not just, we're just going to put this part on and think that we're going to fix the issue. No, we have to start to dig deep now. Where does the dog sleep? What does the dog eat? Where does the dog eat? How does the dog eat? Who's around when the dog eats? Okay, we ask some simple questions. Now, where does the dog sleep? How much does the dog sleep? Where is the dog sleeping? Well, okay, what kind of leash do you use? How often do you walk the dog? When do you walk the dog? Where do you walk the dog? How do you pet the dog? How do you sit and hang out with the dog? We have to start asking more questions to figure out what's going on with this dog, and not just, oh, he's barking? All right, let's put an e-collar on him, and just every time he barks, we just tap that button. That's like, at the end of the day, folks, that straight up is just a zero skill to do. My 10-year-old daughter can do such a thing to a dog. She can clearly see when a dog barks, and she can clearly push a button. That doesn't show any professionalism and any art with working with animals in any sort of way. That's just shutting a dog down and expecting a dog to comply and not really caring at all about that animal. Even if an animal, the dog, is what would you say, that a non-sentient being, just a body, just a nothingness, can't think, has no emotions, has no nothing. A 10-year-old can still do that to that dog, and that still is just silly. It's so silly on how that's what dog training has turned into. These quick fixes, and stopped asking, like, how do we actually officially diagnose what's going on here? Because this is where things get complicated. You can misdiagnose an issue real easily if you just start to attack the end, because you don't actually know what's going on. So if you're attacking the end and you're saying, oh, I fixed that, you're not fixing anything but the end result. The beginning is still going to be there. So you may have fixed it in that one scenario, but there's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be another scenario somewhere else that's going to appear. So the aggression is the result of something happening, something going on that is, you can go, girl. Surprised you're not as dirty as you looked at first. But you're running the water up here ahead again. You probably get clean. But the aggression is a result of something that is happening to make that something have to lash out and do something and be something. It's not who a person is. It's not who a dog is. It's something that's going on that is driving that something to get into that stance. And that's something that a lot of people just really need to understand. Just understand that, and that's how you're going to be able to, for one, calm down and relax with your dog, realizing, start to ask questions of like, well, what's causing this, as opposed to my dog is this. That's the main shift that I need people to just really, really understand. What's the cause of this behavior? I do not care about what I'm seeing that he's doing. I want to know what's causing it. Once we start getting into that mindset and looking at our dogs, that's where you're going to, I don't want to use this word, but fix the dog. That's where you're going to be able to get your dog into a high level of success. That's where you're going to be able to get your dog the real help that it needs. And then you're going to start to be able to see real world results start to happen from that. Everything that I'm doing with my dogs is questioning and wondering, because even today, I'm reassessing and re-understanding my Dalmatian here. Day one I got her, she wanted to go up to every single person. It was like obsessive. And then I'm starting to realize now that we've been walking, I've been calming her down. Now I'm realizing when I let her meet people, she's actually kind of nervous. She's way more nervous in reality than I anticipated, seeing how she was just on a mission to get to people at first. So more and more that I keep working with this girl, the more I keep realizing she wasn't really excited in a happy way to meet these people. It was more in a way of like, are you going to hurt me? So I'm going to come and be cute and pretty with you before you get a chance to like try to like say be mean to me. So she was just doing that to try to like save herself. So she's like, oh, if I come to you first and you can pet me and I jump all on you and you see that I'm happy, I'm fun, then you're going to be cool with me. But she's actually nervous of people because of what may happen to her with what they do. It's such a fascinating thing to just not correct a dog and allow the dogs to be able to get through their emotions to figure out exactly what's going on here, and not just come to a conclusion of, oh, my dog is just aggressive and I got to punish the dog now to get the dog to stop doing that. To actually start learning your dog. And the more that you start learning the dog, that's when, sorry, this is serious hill right here right now. But once you start learning your dog, understanding your dog, able to communicate with your dog, that's when you're going to start to have the real world results that you're looking for from your dog. And not shutting the dog down, suppressing the dog, not forcing the dog into obedience to make it think and seem and perceive that the dog is good, but to actually get the dog to be good, to actually get to the start of the issues that's going on. And once we really understand the start of the issues, that's when things are just they're gonna look really, really good in the end. Sorry, hold on. We got another big hill coming. I'm gonna try to get past this real quick. But once we get to the start of the issues, that's where we're able to find the results that we need. That's gonna be long lasting, it's gonna stick and it's gonna stay. Because now we're actually communicating. We're not just on the back end of it. And I'm telling you, the dog is straight up not aggressive. Because if it was, the way that we want to use that word today, I mean, something I would even say is look up the dictionary term of aggression and aggressive and see what it says. That nothing is inherently aggressive. Something is driving it to be aggressive. And please just research that more. I mean, simply get on the Google and do a dictionary definition of what these words actually mean and see how the dictionary even states what these words are all about, so that you can really understand what you're saying and what's going on. Because aggression is not something that something is. It is something that something is displaying because of what's happening to them. It is not a like what the dog is all about. Dominance, that is something that somebody is. Somebody is a more dominant person, but a dominant person is not an aggressive person. A dominant person or dominant dog is not a mean, evil, bully, pushy dog. It is just a dog that just understands it's who it is. And it's a dog that's secure with itself. And a dog that just wants to be, there's some that are leaders and some that aren't. And a dog that's just a leader. That's all that it is. It doesn't mean that that dog is aggressive. It just means that that dog is just secure with itself in reality and knows who it is and what it's all about. And that's all these words are words that we all really need to look up and go back to school here for a little while and start to research more before we get too, because this is the thing that I just keep seeing, how dog trainers just use this word so much. This aggressive dog, watch me fix this aggressive dog. Watch me work on this aggressive dog. And if that's all that they're trying to do is suppress the aggression that's in the dog, that's why the dogs, and most of y'all, why anyone would even watch a single video of mine, the stuff isn't working, because you're worrying about the end of it. You're not worried about why the heck is my dog portraying this way. And this aggression and aggressive are words and key terms that are used to be able to put human beings in fear. And when we're in fear, what do? Anything we can to get out of fear. So once we get in fear, we'll do anything we can to get out of fear. Now we'll listen to what anything anybody has to say in reality, because we're scared. And once we're scared, that's where the control can really start to take over. And your said freedom of research and understanding and knowledge starts to disappear, because you're hearing the same stuff over and over and over again. When someone says, because this is why I don't really approve of the way that we say like reactive dog, because as soon as we say that, we're instantly putting the label of aggressive dog. And that's not what it is. Because if you get here on this YouTube, even right now, you'll see like someone say a reactive dog, and instantly they're talking about how it's an aggressive dog. And that is far from the truth, people. That is not what's going on here. What's going on here is your dog is, for one, uncomfortable about something, or two, it is overstimulated, overexcited about something. So it's displaying these things that appear to be aggressive behavior because of what's going on with it. And that's something that everyone calm down with your dog. Look at your dog and start to ask the question of, if my dog is barking, let me look around the room and figure out what's going on. What's causing this dog to bark right now? If your dog is growling, stop, look around. What's causing my dog to growl right now? And focus on what your dog is focusing on. Look at everything your dog is looking at and try to figure out what's going on here and see. Because one simple test is, if your dog starts to get fixated on something, you walk towards it a little bit and see what your dog does. If your dog starts to get a little uncomfortable or all excited, you're gonna back up from it. And once you back up from it, you're gonna realize, oh, that right there is making my dog uncomfortable. So maybe I need to like work my dog around this situation on the beginning side of it, before worrying about, let me just put him in the situation and watch him react and respond and get aggressive and then correct him. That's where we're not getting any sort of help, because we're too late, is what I want to say. We're too late. You can't correct the dog after doing what it's already been doing. You can only get onto the dog before the dog is doing what it is you're doing. And I even say correct there, and correct doesn't mean, well, I'm going to use that in the correct word of not punishment, but the actual true word that it represents, of saying, hey, I know you're scared of that, but I'm going to move you over here to let you see that there's nothing to be scared of. I'm going to change what the dog is perceiving as a threat and or something to be too excited about. And then I am no longer going to see that aggression out of that dog anymore. It's as simple as that. Very, very simple as that. And the more and more people just start to look at your own dog, stop watching all these videos on watching these reactive looking dogs and how these trainers are so-called fixing these dogs from being reactive with putting the leash on and just beating on that dog for a while. Just understand that, Ovi, you can go, girl. You can go. We got a lot of water coming. No, it's a little bit still. We got another mile and we better run in the water. But it's watching all these videos of these guys and girls talking about how they got the reactiveness out of the dog in one training session by doing this method. That is just false advertisement, I want to say, because you may have gotten it out, may have gotten that dog to stop barking in that moment for that one thing. But the thing is, there's going to be more things in the world that are going to make that dog either super excited or super nervous. So if you're correcting or treating your dog out of barking at other dogs, just understand that there are still people. Understand that there are strollers. Understand that there are bikes. Understand there's cars. There's an unlimited amount of things. So that's where the part with me that I started feeling uncomfortable with. I can get a dog to stop barking at dogs, but now it starts barking at this. Now it starts barking at that. So now I'm just correcting the dog for like everything all day long to get him to get out of it. And then after I'm done with all that, the dog stops barking, because you do that like 10, 15 times. The dog just submits and says, well, I can't do nothing. So I'm just a dumb dog. I'm just going to walk by your side. And it just turns into, at the end of the day, folks, just fear. because it's not getting its needs met in the beginning of why it's doing what it's doing. Thank you. So this is a tough walk out here. I'm just too busy today. I can't make a video later on, so I gotta double work right now. But there's just one thing I want everyone to really just understand. Your dog is either nervous or something, or it's really excited about something. And I want you to work your dogs getting through that in the beginning. Your dog is sitting calm, and then your dog starts to get like stiff and anxious. I want you to just focus on what's in my environment right now that's causing my dog to want to act like this. That's the foundation that we all, as pet owners, dog owners, animal owners, all animals, is we were just calm, but now you're excited. Why are you excited? What's going on here? What's making you get fixated on this dog? What is this dog doing looking at me? What's going on in this scenario? And then you're able to communicate to your dog, okay, I see that that's what you want. I see that that's what's going on. And then we can get a distance, we could walk an arch, we can get the dog to calm down and say, you know what, if you're excited and you want to go play, if you're calm, I'll let you go ahead and meet another dog. I'll let you meet a person. But if you're not, then you're gonna have to stay here until you relax. And the dogs truly understand that. And then if your dog is fearful, you're gonna do the exact same thing. I know you're scared, but we're gonna go at a little bit of a distance and we're gonna get calm right now. And once we're calm, then we can go ahead and realize like you can get through these emotions. You're fine. Nothing hurts you. Nothing damaged you. You're going to get past this. You're going to get through this. And then the dogs will be able to relax and relax and relax so that they'll be able to have more time in that calm before they get into that so-called reactive mode, that they're just going to hang out longer and longer and longer. It's going to take more time. That's how I'm able to have this dog out here. There's this, someone left a funny comment on one of my videos of being around no distractions. I'd love to see anybody just off leash your dog right here anywhere that I walk. This is the most extreme distraction than anything walking into any city, any concrete, anything. Because on concrete, what do you got? Dogs? You got nothing. Out here, there's everything. There's deer, there's rabbits, there's squirrels, there's birds, there's roadrunners. Roadrunners are cute. There's lizards, there's snakes, there's everything out here. An extreme distraction is out here. And this dog, my Dalmatian, is, I feel, I'm just straight it like that, because obviously if I let her off leash, 100% confident at this moment that she's gonna be fine. That she's not gonna take off when she sees deer. And even if she does take off, I can say, stop that. You can see that. She just responds instantly to what I'm saying. So I feel very 100% confident in her ability, and because I've gotten her to be calm. And she's calm, it takes a long time for her to build up to get to a point of like, I gotta go wild and crazy right now. And that happens through time and not pressure, not corrections and punishment, not treats and rewards, but just time of studying the dog, understanding the dog, being with the dog, and just hanging out with the dog to be able to allow the dog to be able to understand who you are. And that's the main thing that, again, my message is not the best for everyone, because there's work. It takes time. It's not instant. It's not 5 minutes. So that's where, at the end of the day, I can say your dog can be really nice. It can be really good. But if you're not putting in the time, putting in the effort, sitting down and studying and watching and researching your own animal in front of your eyes, you're really not going to get anywhere. I want everyone to just look at your dog. Stop worrying about another technique, how to get my dog out of how being reactive and barking at other dogs and barking at people. But just study your dog. Sit for 2 or 3, 4 days and just study your dog. Take your dog in the front yard and just watch your dog. If your dog's hanging out relaxed, watch, see what's around. Pay attention to the environment. If your dog stands on its feet and starts to look all anxious, see what's coming around. If your dog gets up all excited, see what's coming around and start to understand your dog. Because when you start to understand the dog, now we're communicating to the dog, and the dog sees that we're communicating, understands what's going on with them. And then they're gonna want to listen to us with, like, just because we're giving them everything that they need. If they're too excited, they want to calm down to be able to do what they want to do. So they calm down, and then they get to be able to do what they want to do. If they're nervous, okay, we're just gonna stay here. We're not gonna get in the middle of it. And the dog starts to get super happy. And every dog has some things that they're scared of and some things that they're overexcited about. And we need to understand the differences between both so that we can be able to effectively help the dogs through what's going on. And once you start doing this with the dog, watch, just watch something that amazing starts to happen in your life. You're going to be able to find those same things in your own self. You're going to realize something that frustrates you. You're going to like assess the situation and say, hey, why am I frustrated? Am I just frustrated just because I just woke up, I'm just evil, I'm just mean? Or why am I frustrated? What's going on to cause me to be this way? And once you start backtracking and thinking and looking all that through, you're gonna start to say like, oh, that's nothing to be worried about anymore. Like that's already over with. Why am I still worried about that? And you'll be able to move on with your life. That's the whole anxiousness that goes on. Because in most cases, you don't even know why you're frustrated or anxious. You just are. And you're not even asking that question like, why am I here right now? What's going on right now? What's going down? And that's what's going to be able to help you be able to get into a much, much better place on this planet.